Let's learn with Teacher Joe. Hi kids, this is Teacher Joe. What time is it? It's time to learn science. Come on, let's explore new things. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, let's go.
Kids, let's review about sink and float. Sink and float are occurrences that usually happens on water. Do you see the water? Yes, there it is, water. When an object is less dense than water, it will float. When an object is more dense than water, it will sink. Float, it means it stays at the top of the water. Sink means it stays at the bottom of the water. Sink. Float, wood floats. Sink. Key is heavy and it's more dense than water. It will sink. These are examples of objects that will float on water. Float. A leaf will float on water. A floatee will float on water. A tennis ball will float on water. Paper will float on water. Wood will float on water. Plastic balls will float on water. Sink. These are examples of objects that will sink on water. It means it will stay at the bottom. Stone, metal, and coins. Sink. Let's review. Ice. Ice is less dense than water. It will float. It stays at the top. Float, 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 float. The egg, in this case, is more dense than water, and it will sink. Sink, 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 sink. You can try this at home and experiment. Ice floats on water. Now, these are examples of metal and wood. Let's compare. Do you see the spoon? It touches the bottom of the glass. It means it's sinking. Sink. Wood stays at the top. It means it is floating. Sink, float. Float, sink. Float, sink. Now, let's try these objects. The sponge will sink. The key will sink. The wood will stay at the top. It means it will float. The stone will sink. The pencil will, what do you think? Will it float or sink? Float. How about the apple? Will it float or sink? Float. Which one will float? Is it the apple, the key, or the sponge? It's the apple. Good job! Which one will sink? Is it the pencil, the wooden block, or the stone? The one that will sink is, if you answer this one, you are correct. The stone will sink. Good job, kids!
Wow! Bravo! You finished the lesson for today. Kids, see you next science class. This is Teacher Joe signing off.